Cheers, nice. Call to order the Littleton Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for July.
It's on.
It's Thursday, July 7th, 2016. We're in room 103 at 37 Shattuck Street, Littleton, Mass. And we have some items on the agenda, and we'll open the meeting at 7:15. First thing, there were some minutes sent out for review. Did anyone have a chance to review them?
They were really basic, as I recall. Maybe like a one-page minute.
Yeah, we could, if you haven't looked at them, we could postpone that till the next meeting, but let's try to look at it the next meeting if you want. It's up to you. If you've reviewed them, we can review them.
I didn't.
Okay, we'll postpone that till the next meeting. We also have a light board with summer vacations and every other thing. Alan Bell is recuperating from hips replacement surgery.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Hip replacement, I knew he was going for an operation.
Yeah, hip
That's
replacement.
severe.
Mark Saucer is just back from knee surgery.
Yes?
And doing quite well, I hear. Roseanne Bales had a family matter tonight and will not be in attendance. I think that's all of us, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Who's missing?
We're down 2. Oh, Roseanne and Elle. Okay. So we're not going to do minutes. I have some accounts payable that I'll just sign. And the next item on the agenda is the update on the outstanding issues at 15 Great Road. We've been talking about that. That's the 40B. And the good news is, I did see mail go back and forth that said they have satisfied the electric light department, that they've completed everything that they wanted done. And Scott Edwards from the electric light department answered the email by saying he's very pleased with all of it. And that should be a closed issue now. That was, if you recall, moving the transformers. I don't remember if he was here at the meeting and told us the status update last time and said that he had extra wire in those transformers, so he didn't have to restring them. Do you remember that?
He said he was hoping that at least on one there was some...
Yeah, so he said that's what happened, and they were quite satisfied.
Good.
Mhm.
That worked out well.
Yeah.
Michelle was going to look up about fencing. Do you know if she had a chance to do that?
No, and we'll wait and ask her when she comes back.
That's
about the.
fine.
I know that you had asked her to do that.
I went and took a careful look again, and there's just that one property that's past the split rail fence that the back door just sort of dumps on towards the road. That concerns me.
Yeah, and you spoke about it here at the meeting, and I did speak to others afterwards, just generally in the community, and they agree with you that there should be something done about that. You know, if I have a chance, maybe I'll just write to Mr. Gallagher. Didn't he say he was going to look at it? Didn't you bring it up with him?
I did, but the fencing is not his responsibility somehow.
Oh, that's what he said. Yeah, that's
Yes,
what he said.
it belongs, the responsibility of that belongs to Mr. Hale. Or the responsibility of that strip of land.
So the next item on the agenda was the update on 15 Great Road, and Shelley's not here tonight because she's on vacation, and I don't really see how she's filed the 15 Great Road matter, but I am reporting to you that I saw it on the emails and it was all set. I'm sorry I can't read it directly from here, but
You don't have a copy of it.
you didn't get a copy of the
You
email,
need to
right?
recuse yourself anyway.
No, I know, but I read the,
Not on 15
email.
Great Road.
No, I meant, I thought you were talking about.
No, I'm
Yeah.
still on 15 Great Road.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the update status report on Kimball Farm Village on the Common. I will recuse myself on that one.
I will also.
And Cheryl, why don't you take and go through that?
Okay.
Is this just the status, or
Yeah,
you can't provide
we need to
status?
talk about it a little bit. We asked them, remember, we asked them to give us yearly updates
Yeah,
because of so let's give them a chance to leave. Did you get it on the email and get a chance to read it?
I did read one email about,
It
it
was,
sounded
it
like they
was,
bought the Fletcher property.
did you have to leave?
You're just going to update the status.
Oh,
You're not
okay.
going to discuss anything.
If you read it, and you should read it, it was a report from their attorney
Yeah.
Rob Ansell talking about their plans and what they're doing. And I found it a little distressing because it seems like the 40B aspect's going away, and I'm a little concerned about the fact our numbers, with all the construction that's going on in town, our numbers are going down. And they have all kinds of interesting plans, so you should read it.
I did, it was a couple weeks ago, so.
Oh, okay. Did you get a chance to read it?
No, I don't remember.
He was
When was
talking
it sent
about-
out?
They're talking about putting over 55, they said it.
A small part of it, the
Apart.
part that's already built.
Well, he rehabbed those, and then he was
Right.
gonna wanted to put in 50 rental units or something for.
He was going to rehab those, and my understanding was those were going to become over 55, which is wonderful,
Yeah,
in my opinion. I would like that, the 40B component to still be there, but it's going to be over 55, 40B would be perfect. But there's all kinds of other plans in there that I guess discussions are going on within the town about other uses.
yeah.
And so, if you haven't read it carefully, you should read it carefully again.
But I get the impression that they bought the Fletcher property, or some amount of the Fletcher property. Did
I
they say that in
guess, I don't know.
there? Yeah.
I don't know.
Because if they bought the whole Fletcher property that he wanted rezoned, that's sizable.
I don't know if he bought all of it. I don't know what portion he bought of it. It will be interesting to see what he proposes there.
So maybe he should come in and fill us in. Is he due for the status?
This is the status. He's given us a written report.
Oh, I think he needs to be in here so we can question him.
I don't think so. I think we've got a written report. I think we should be asking our elected officials what they're doing with this, because the written report reflects back to our other officials and what, and discussions going on with the planning board and the selectmen, et cetera.
Well,
So
if he's asking have another extension.
he's not asking for another
Okay, 'cause
extension.
I
We
wouldn't
gave
do
him a
that based on
3-year
an email.
extension. We gave,
A 1-year extension.
no, we gave him, wasn't it 3 years?
No, it was 1 year because he was
It was 1
talking
year.
about other potential
Yeah, 3
uses
years.
for the property.
No, we gave him a 3-year extension, we did.
Not the last one. There was a
Or
lot
a
of
2
talk
year, it was
about
at
only
least 2
6
years.
months.
Yeah, we asked the board for an additional 1-year extension, granted the request.
But we
Yeah,
gave-
just 1 year, I believe. 1 year.
So what date was that?
This is dated June 30th. This is what came through.
No, I mean,
No,
when
but it
we
was
gave the
December 2/15 that we gave the 1 year. So this is a
December.
6-month
This is
follow-up.
6
No,
Okay.
we gave him more than 1 year.
Well,
But either way, it's 6 months in, and it's the end of the year before they come back for another extension.
Oh, I see, this is the 6-month extension. Okay, I was confused. Okay, so back in 6 months to give us a report. And this is the report that they're in discussions of doing all kinds of things, or talking about doing all kinds of things.
All right, so it's still an awful lot up in the air.
What? A lot of things up in the air.
Yeah.
So that's all.
Yeah.
Are we done?
yeah,
I
yeah.
think
I mean,
so.
I haven't, like I said, I haven't read it in detail, but
If you didn't get it, I can certainly forward it to you.
why don't you do it? Yeah, because normally
You're good about reading these things.
yeah, I
I
tried. to.
remember reading it.
I can certainly forward it to you.
Yeah, because I probably won't be able to find it. Yeah, my wife forwarded it to me at work. And it's
We'll read it.
7,000
I mean, I
emails.
think this fulfills his need to report to us.
Yeah.
Okay? We're done.
I'm disappointed he didn't come in person, but
I think this fulfills his need to report to us.
maybe. But it doesn't give us a chance to ask questions.
Okay, that's under administrative review. The next item on the agenda is 7:30 PM, the continued hearing of case number 868A. That's parcels 123 and 124 Oak Road. I need to recuse on this if it's being heard, but this is the one that keeps getting continued because the status right now with the town and town council is, as I understand it, town council is working with the selectmen to make sure that the parcels can get conveyed to the fields as intended without them maintaining a separate buildable identity. In other words, they want to be sure that when the fields acquire all the parcels, they acquire simultaneously with that lot of the gentleman that's the subject of this petition, so that they're not creating more small lots down on Oak Road. And council has been very actively involved in a couple of planning board matters that has kept him busy from looking at this right now, but I think he's going to start turning his attention to Oak Road. So I think you're going to ask for one more extension. We're going to ask you to sign the agreement to continue the time for us to hear it and the time for us to decide it. Probably one more time at least. And our next meeting is probably going to be 5 or 6 weeks away, so let's pick a date certain in August to continue you to, and I'll get, when Shelley's back, I'll get an extension around for you to sign, okay?
Do you want to pick the ordinary meeting in August?
Yeah, third Thursday, please, if you have it. I didn't bring my
I've got one.
thing tonight. And I'll put you on at 7:30 PM because likely you're either going to have your thing and withdraw it, or you're going to need one more extension
be-
until it's resolved.
August 18th?
August 18th at 7:30 PM. So I'll take a motion from the board to continue.
I need to say something. I have to put the board on notice that from now on Oak Road, somehow I have to recuse myself. I'm not sure how this is going to work. I think I have to recuse myself. One of the agents in my office has listed the property next door to this for sale, and the outcome of what happens with this property could affect the sale and value of the other property. So I think I have to recuse myself from now on.
So you simply report to the board that you may have a financial interest in the outcome of the matter. You don't always have to give the exact reason why, and
Okay.
so the board is on notice. We'll try to check.
To make sure you have enough for
To make sure
quorum.
we have enough, but I'm pretty much going to guarantee that whatever happens, you're going to have to start all over again, because it's going to be a new plan than the one you sent here with the variance for a high wall, right? So I think that's going to work out fine. Okay. So that's a motion to continue that hearing till 7:30 on August 18th?
So moved, subject to that
The
approval.
continuation signed. Thank you. And a second to that motion?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay. The next item on the agenda is a 7:30 hearing of case number 873A. The petitioner Matthew Field, M&M Realty, requests for a special permit variance pursuant to Section 17310B 1 and 2 and 17331 to allow a lot line division between two existing non-conforming structures. And I'm going to suggest that the board hear that with case number 864A, also called for 7:30 PM, also advertised. The petitioner Matthew Field, M&M Realty, requests for a modification of a decision which granted a variance to change, extend, or alter two existing non-conforming structures. They are related cases and they sort of depend on each other. I do need to recuse myself from this matter because I have a financial interest in the outcome of the case, and I have to leave the room.
Before you leave, there's only 4 of us, not a board of 5. Do we want to inform, and I think you have to have not just even a simple majority, you have to have at least 3 of us. Or
4 out of
all-
4.
4 out of 4?
Yeah, and Vice Chair Mr. Yates can announce that to the,
And I want to officially appoint Mark
Okay. By
to hear
default.
this case. So let's open this, and we'd like to hear from the petitioner, and I'm hoping there is some legal expertise that will be
Absolutely.
presented here, because it seems like it's a complicated matter.
Absolutely. Board, good evening. I'm Jennifer Platt, here on behalf of M&M Realty, Matthew Fields. And this is a project that you've seen before.
Yes.
It's, as you know, Dahlia Road. There were 2 pre-existing non-conforming lots. They were there with structures on them that were built back in the 1930s.
Wasn't
Those-
it 1 lot, not 2?
There were 2 lots. There have always been 2 lots. Structures, per the building assessor, were built back in the 1930s. They, as you know, had become very run down, very dilapidated. We were in front of this board back in last December, looking for a special permit or a variance at that time to take down the old structures and build something new. The building inspector had recommended that rather than trying to modify anything that was there at that time, but to take them down completely, demo them, get variances for the new structures against the existing external lot lines. And the only thing that's changed from that plan you approved back in December is the structures are now built exactly where we asked for them to be built. We had thought when we came in for that first approval that this would be done as a condominium. So we didn't need to ask for any variances down the middle lot line. Since then, based on discussions with the buyers, it was a strong preference to have these as two single-family lots again. The reason being, anytime you have a two-unit condominium, you're just destined to have locked battles on maintenance, upkeep, control. They really prefer to each have control of their own sides. The buildings are built. There is a shared septic system, exactly as it would have been with the condominium. But here, the Board of Health has approved it as a shared system. They've actually required the potential homeowners to put money aside into a reserve, so there's adequate money for every 3 years to pump it, inspect it, and even more so after 20 years to totally redo the system if it's necessary. So we have better protection both for the homeowners and for the town on this septic system than we would if it were in a condominium. Because, in town there's a number of two-unit condominiums. They have a single septic system, and there's no requirement to put money aside for cleaning, pumping, repair. Can give you, just as a reminder, this is sort of the before and after. The two lots, it's amazing. One of the lots was 20 feet of frontage. That's it, 20 feet by 100. And the one next to it had 80 feet of frontage. We were in front of the planning board in April. That's sort of the before picture. And the after picture, the planning board approved an approval not required plan, because anytime you have two existing dwellings on a lot, you're allowed to put a lot line. So the only thing we need here is a variance against that internal lot line. The dwellings are actually much better set than they were beforehand. We have a better buffer between each of the neighbors the neighbor on the outside. There's been no increase in the number of bedrooms, the intensity of use here. It just took two very old homes, rebuilt them to something that's, they look really quite nice. But since it's going to be on the two lots rather than a single lot, we need a variance right down the middle.
You need a variance for the setback to that lot line.
To the center lot line, because we
Right.
received the variances from this board for
Right,
the
but-
rest of the
No,
outside.
But
we
this
let-
isn't
We let
planning.
them rebuild the two existing
That's
houses.
not my question. The second one here indicates that you need a variance for the lot line? And
For
that
the
puzzles me.
setback for the lot
The
line.
setback, right. But I understand that. It says to allow a lot line division between two existing non-conforming structures. That's
That is-
873A.
It's not just setbacks, they're looking for a variance to divide the lot.
Right, but I
the-
don't see why, if the planning board provided an A&R, that we need to do anything in terms of that lot line.
Because they can't divide the lot. The planning board can't divide the lot. It's less than an acre big.
Did you
The,
comment on that?
actually, I don't think that's correct in that under the statute, anytime there are two existing dwellings on a lot, they have the right under Chapter 81. So there, you'll see, this is actually an approved 81 plan, 81L plan.
That's with existing houses that of some terminal age, according to what our attorney says. Can we read the planning board and the attorney's
Yeah, go right ahead.
into record, Jeff?
We have,
Notes from both the
well,
building
we have
inspector.
the town council, we have I'm going to read the historical summary, which I think was prepared by Roland. The issue involves 25 to 27 Dahlia Drive. The single lot was purchased, and I want to stop here, and there seems to be, it was always presented to us that there was a single lot with two
Exactly.
dwellings on it.
Yep.
Early discussion with the developer resulted in an appeal to the Littleton Board of Appeals, which resulted in a variance to completely remove two structures and allow the rebuild of two single-family dwellings on one lot. We did that on the recommendation of the building inspector, who felt like saving elements of one of the structures would actually diminish its utility in the interest of the town housing stock. Building Commissioner comments, CBA Appeal Case 864A, the Board of Health similarly approved a shared septic system on one lot. Based on these decisions, 3 building permits were issued for 2 residential dwellings coexisting on a single lot. I was recently made aware of a subdivision approved as an A&R pursuant to a statute based on the above noted approvals and the fact that both buildings were demolished. I requested an opinion from Town Council. Does the subdivision enjoy the protection of Chapter 81L? And this relates to the fact one of such buildings remains standing, and in fact, both buildings were demolished, and if yes, then is the developer required to revisit all boards to amend the approvals which were based on a single lot? Summary. 2 building permits were issued for single-family dwellings on a single lot based on the above noted facts. I have received 2 plot plans for each permit issued showing 2 houses on one lot. I have not received any request to amend the building permit scope of work, and as such will not issue a CO until such time this is resolved. I have some reservations that the A&R has voluntarily created additional setback issues that did not exist before the A&R was approved. Now, that is why we're here today, because it did create additional setback issues.
Correct, on that center
Okay.
line.
Town council response. The relevant exception to the definition of subdivision applies to the division of a tract of land in which 2 or more dwellings were standing when the subdivision control law went into effect. And that's underlined because this would be the case in this case. In the town in which the land lies into separate lots on each of which one of such buildings remains standing.
So that would have been 1974, and the old houses predated 1974, was it, or was 74 when we did the zoning laws?
I think it was before that, but I think they would predate that. This exemption generally applies to structures that have been in existence for a long period of time and remain in place as of the date of the A&R endorsement. I'm not aware of any case in which this exemption has been used to create 2 new lots where the old non-conforming structures have been partially demolished, but some portion, like a foundation, has been left in place to preserve the grandfathering protection. That said, once the A&R plan has been endorsed and recorded, then these 2 new lots exist as a matter of subdivision control. But the endorsement of the A&R plan provides absolutely no benefit to these lots as a matter of zoning, which is also why we're here today. So basically, this is saying that this, that we have an A&R subdivision, but there still is the matter of the setbacks which don't conform to zoning.
Stated differently. If you skip.
Okay, if any such violations are created, the applicant needs to obtain the appropriate form of zoning relief or will be subject to zoning enforcement. The A&R plan certainly seems to present a number of new zoning issues that will need to be addressed. In particular, the December 2015 variance from the ZBA authorized reduced setbacks from the structures to the exterior old lot lines. That variance doesn't do anything to authorize the setbacks to the new interior lot line. In addition, the December 2015 variance doesn't allow for these 2 new lots which enjoy no grandfathering protection to lawfully exist in violation of the current minimum lot size requirements. Could you comment on that?
So what we have here, as you know, is the exact plan that had been approved before.
Yes.
And conceptually, it was going to be on a single lot as a condominium. It had been previously 2 separate lots, and the plans that you have in front of you, the very old ones, will show that they were 2 separate lots. And they are now 2 lots again, but they're much better sized and situated than they were previously. So the board has the authority to grant a variance from lot lines and any requirements under the zoning bylaws. Here, where we have, it was the preference and direction of the building inspector to completely take down the old buildings and build new ones so they can be compliant with code, totally up to date, relocated better within the, let's just call them the external lot lines rather than the shared lot line. So there's less of an encroachment against the abutter. The only difference is now that we do have the benefit of an A&R plan, we do need your relief as to that center lot line. And had we done it in a different order, we would have, and had the A&R plan done first last year, we would have been here asking for the variances all the way around, but we went out of order a little bit, so now we have to come back and get the approval for that center lot line.
I guess that we all understand the need for the variances for the new lot line. The question that I have based on this is, he says here, in addition, the December variance doesn't allow for these two new lots, which enjoy no grandfathering protection, to lawfully exist in violation of the current minimum lot size requirements. So we have two hearings before us. One is about the variances, and then the other one is a variance to allow a lot line division between two existing non-conforming structures. Now, what is the difference? Are we here to comment on the actual establishment of the lot line, or is that?
I don't think that's required. I think that
Okay.
is done under the purview of the planning board. They have issued that lot line. There is the plan, it's been approved. Had the builder wanted to do something entirely different, they could have kept that old lot line with a 20-foot frontage and tried to build something right there on the grandfathered protected lot. They could have built on those two lots as they existed. It was, again, from input from the building inspector and also trying to make a more livable, user-friendly home, that those two new homes were shifted in away from the exterior lot lines. So, yes, it loses the lot lines from the 1930s, but I think what we get is something that's much better for the town.
If you read on, Jeff, the next paragraph.
Okay, I'll read that out loud. I believe that these new zoning violations remain dormant for so long as these two lots remain in common ownership. As long as they are owned by the same person entity, which they are now with the builder, we can regard the two lots as merged for purposes of zoning. It's only when the first lot is conveyed to a third party that a zoning violation will occur. Of course, it appears a sale is in the works, so this grace period won't be in place for very long, which is why you're here. I understand that the applicant is currently before the Board of Health seeking authorization of the new shared septic system configuration. They seem to acknowledge the need to get new relief from the BOH to correspond to the lot layout on the A&R plan. I understand that's been approved.
That's been done, yes.
Based on the foregoing, it seems that the applicant has a significant zoning issue, which is why you're here, that will complicate issuance of a CO. Please let me know if you agree with my analysis. And Roland did agree, and he issued one CO, and he's withholding the other one pending this. My question is still, we have two hearings before us. And I'm trying to understand what the difference between them is. The first hearing, let's go with the lower number hearings, 864A. Request for a modification of a decision which granted a variance to change, extend, or alter two existing non-conforming structures. Now, we could modify the decision, or could we decide just to issue a new decision?
I think you can, I will defer to you, but I
Okay.
believe you can do either.
And then 873A is request for a special permit variance to allow a lot line division between two existing non-conforming structures. That's what we've never had a hearing like that, and I need some explanation. I don't.
And that was what I was bringing up in the beginning. If the planning board wrote an A&R,
Right.
and it's been endorsed and recorded, then I
Why
don't see how
do we
that
have
even
to?
applies.
Yeah,
right?
why does this apply?
Right.
Because they can't give a grant for a variance for the difference to the loft lines.
We're not talking about that, we're talking about the lot line itself.
I got it. Well, I'd like to discuss this, but, well, let's finish asking questions and close the hearing.
I guess
so we
my
can
question is,
discuss.
can you help us out on this?
I would say from the applicant's side, and to be as conservative as possible, I would request the relief, because if it's not needed and we have it, then all the better. But I don't see how it, I think the planning board exercised their authority to give an A&R plan.
So it appears like we have a subdivision for which our board will grant variances to the existing structures to this, relating to this new lot line. I think that's straightforward. We all understand that.
I don't understand how the planning board could grant an A&R, but I guess that's a discussion we should have without,
Well,
Once we close the hearing.
this is why I don't understand it.
I don't.
And I
think-
don't even know on the case of a,
There were two existing lots, so they have, I believe they have the authority to do that. If there's any additional protections that we get by having this board approve that as well, then.
I don't know under what basis we would approve it.
Can
Or
we-
disapprove it.
Can we go into discussion?
Yeah, well, unless you can, that's my question. Is there any other questions we have for the applicant?
I don't think so. I agree with you. I don't think that first one applies, and we just deal with the setbacks.
I think it does apply, and I think we do have to, can we close the hearing?
Any other questions?
No, I mean, I've got a lot, but not,
Well,
Not
now's the
for
time
them.
to ask.
not, yeah.
And is there anyone in the audience that wishes to comment on this?
Any neighbors, existing neighbors?
I have heard that two of the neighbors have met with the developer and said that they very much appreciate and approve the new buildings that are there. It looks obviously much better than what had been there
We've
for.
also heard that from one of our members who isn't here. Okay, so I'm closing the
I'll
public
make a motion
comment.
to close the
Okay,
hearing.
second?
Second.
The hearing is closed,
All in
and,
favor?
We have 10 minutes to discuss.
well, let's discuss it now. I think that it's a matter, I'll speak for myself. I think we understand that there's no change in the physical configuration of the buildings that we approved in December. So I think it's reasonable to consider, variances to this new lot line. The only, and so that refers to Kate 864A. The only problem I have is I don't know how we can pursue 873A, which is a variance for a lot line, because I am not an expert, but we've never done that before. Now, variances are issued based on site topography, and, there's specific considerations, and in this case, you could perhaps make a case, but I don't know what, any of you have any experience with this?
I think we fall back on the fact that the A and R was submitted,
board A&R.
and we're now dealing with two lots.
I have a real problem with that. I gotta tell you, we granted the variance to allow them to tear down the buildings and move them closer together with the strict caveat that there was two existing houses on one lot. If they'd come to us and said, gee, we want to divide the lots at the beginning, and want to move the lot line around, we probably would have said no. Or from what I remember the discussion, I think we would have had reservations about that. Now, it's come down to they've built the houses, there's very little space in between the houses. It really does look like one kind of unit to me. It shares one septic system. The fact that they're more saleable if they divide them doesn't seem to be justification for turning one lot into two. They had been combined into one lot. It was, we just had this on Washington, where the lawyer temporarily for 10 minutes combined it into two lots, and then the big question of whether or not he had the right to separate it back out, even when there were two very distinctive lots in the beginning. These lots have been combined many years ago, and it just...
But there's no change in the physical configuration of
There was
what we
big
approved.
change. I mean, they've
No,
built
no,
two
from
much
from
bigger
what,
houses.
from what we approved.
They've built, yes, but now they're trying to take what we approved to rebuild two houses, understanding they were going to be bigger, and move them and be more attractive for the neighborhood and be a benefit to the neighborhood. We agreed to allow them to tear down the two existing houses and move them closer and build bigger houses. And that all made sense to me. But to now divide the lots doesn't make sense to me, and to give variances in any way, shape, or form, because I don't know how the planning board did an A&R plan on 2 new houses when the town council says they can't do that. I just, I
No,
can't,
the
I
town
can't, I
council-
can't, I
the
can't, I can't do
Town
this.
council did not say they couldn't do that. It
Well,
said
he
that
did.
If you did that, it would create further zoning issues.
He said he doesn't understand how they did it. If you look closely, read what he says. He says, "The exemption generally applies to structures that have been in existence for a long period of time and remain in place as the date of the A&R endorsement. I'm not aware of any case in which this exemption has been used to create 2 lots, where the old non-conforming structures have been even partially demolished, but some portion have been left in place to preserve the grandfathering protection." That said, and then he goes on to, "But the endorsement of the A&R plan provides absolutely no benefit to these lots as a matter of zoning." So he's saying it really has no meaning. The fact that the lots may be divided under Section 81L existing building exemption does not mean that the resulting lots automatically will be buildable or usable under zoning ordinances or bylaws. So he's basically saying that it doesn't.
No, that's not what he's saying. He's saying that it creates zoning issues that can be solved with variances,
Right, such as the new setback.
such as the new setbacks. He's not questioning the validity of the lots. Now, the other thing, Cheryl, I'd like you to consider is that one of the, part of this situation, and there were sort of loopholes that could have avoided it, but our zoning officer requested that one of the existing buildings be completely, torn down, that could have been left in part, and then some of these issues would have gone away.
I understand that, but that was the plan. The fact that they're more saleable or more valuable by now subdividing the land does not seem to a convincing argument to me that we should now subdivide a lot that's very small in the first place. How many square feet is the lot?
One argument that I heard was that if there are 2 lots with a shared septic, the Board of Health has more control over it than it does if it's a condo. So because of the 2 lots, they're able to require the ongoing maintenance and financial provision for future problems, whereas if it was a condo, they could not do that. So that is a benefit. And it's a cost to the owners.
Yeah, I don't find it a convincing benefit, I'm sorry.
There's a couple other issues, or at least one other issue. I don't think 2 houses should ever have been built on it. That's why I originally
You
denied it.
voted against it.
And one of the 2 reasons, major reasons, is trying to have 2 people trying to deal with a shared lot. This eliminates that, and they have their own lot. So at least in my mind, it's improved it in that regard. It's still a shared septic system that they still have to deal with together, but at least, the shared ownership of the lot has been taken off the table. I think that's a benefit.
Okay. Mark?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, we approved with December, the setbacks and everything, essentially saying you can build it this way. Now the change they're looking for with the new lot line really doesn't change anything, I don't want to say materially, because in one sense it does, but it's not changing anything physically. It's making things, as Rod said, easier from the Board of Health's control, as well as the people living there. My only concern is there, something in the statutes that says we shouldn't be approving that. And I'm trying to read, town councils.
Yeah, I'm getting,
Where-
I'm getting
he's
different things out of
saying
I
it.
think our questions are related to the establishment of the lots,
Right, yeah.
not the actual idea of a variance given to this new lot line. I mean, because the buildings are going to be the same distance.
Right,
apart.
yeah, the variance, variance for the
So-
setback, to me,
so,
isn't a big deal.
Splitting a hair is that
Except for it becomes only, now we have lots with less than 2 houses, 2 separate houses on 2 separate lots with less than 10 feet between them. I just have a problem with that. I do. I think if it's a condominium, we're used to that. That's acceptable. There's common ownership of that land. It can be maintained in common form. And instead, you're going to have 4.5 feet and 4.7 on the other. You know, sorry, I can't wrap my head around it.
You're not really changing anything. You're just now saying each owner owns a piece of that parcel.
As opposed to,
Rather than a joint parcel. The setback, the distances between the buildings, outer setbacks, I assume, have not changed. So it really is just making it a little more legally easy for the owners, I think.
but look at it. If the land's owned in common.
I don't like it from the beginning.
I understand.
But
told you
the
that,
owner,
but-
but
This is what we
that's
have to
not, the
deal with
line,
now.
the line is an imaginary, item. Nothing is changing. The only thing that's changed is the planning board has now put a line down the middle of it.
Right.
Well, is there nothing changed? What's the original, because I just probably should have looked at it a little
I mean,
bit
nothing's
closer. but
changed from
originally,
our,
well,
our decision. that we
is there? Because
approved.
what's the original
Originally,
plot plan that,
it was
or
right here.
house location
It's
that we?
that.
No, but there were supposed to be, okay, it's one lot, there was a house here and then a very narrow house here.
Right.
Is that that was the original plan that we looked at when we allowed the
That's what
original
was
setback?
existing.
Original
That's what was
structures that were
existing.
torn
That
down.
was existing.
Okay.
And we allowed this as one, there were two houses on one plan, so we basically allowed them to be as close together as they want them to be. We didn't regulate that at all, because it was being built as two condominiums. We didn't say, gee, you have to have a certain amount of distance between them, or a property line. They've now built them as two condominiums, but the bottom line is, it's, I think, more
So this is
saleable,
the
or more
same-
profitable to divide them, and I just have a problem with that.
This, regardless of the lot line, these are the same two buildings that we looked at back in December?
That we approved, yes.
Okay, okay, for
We
some,
did,
okay.
we approved these two buildings out of that, and that made sense to me. But to now to give, less than 5 feet setbacks to a lot line between two property for the sake of saleability or profit just doesn't make
You keep
sense to
saying
me.
saleability or profit. I keep coming back to, I think it's better for the homeowners that they don't have to share the land.
I hear you, that's not my opinion.
You see the issue here. We do not have 4 votes for this proposal at this time. So you can,
I think we've closed the hearing, I don't think they can we?
well, but they can,
We can always reopen it, I think.
well, I don't know
I
how
don't
that
think you
works.
can.
Well, what
I mean,
would
that's
your,
why- That's why I was making a point at the beginning, that he had to have all 4 votes.
Cheryl, what would be your alternative?
I
And how
think
does it
should be
change
con-
things?
I think it should continue as it is.
And what does that change?
I think it gives the land in between the houses, keeps it as common ownership, so there's a 10 feet wide strip there that then the 2 condos are maintaining, and they're maintaining the whole property together. They're not trying to maintain and 2 separate houses with 5 feet to a lot line on each side. It's just too close, and I worry about the precedent it sets.
Well,
too.
as far as
I
being
don't
too
think there's
close,
any precedent set here. This is a completely unusual situation.
There is more than one lot in Littleton that has 2 houses on it.
How many? 3 more?
I know of
2
2.
more?
I know of 2. I don't know,
So-
and I don't know all the properties in
I don't think
Littleton.
this is a precedent-setting issue.
I mean, putting the line down the middle, to me, doesn't really change much.
Doesn't change.
In terms, and in fact, it makes it
physically.
easier, because instead of 2 families arguing over who's gonna mow the lawn, they both know, I gotta mow to this line, and this house knows I gotta mow. So in reality, it makes life simpler, with less conflict, if it is 2 separate owners.
Exactly, that's my
Okay.
point.
So like I said, my main concern is, is it legal to do it? And if the planning board seems to indicate that it is, then from our perspective, if
But
we
then
look
the-
at it from what's a benefit for the community and the
Planning board
owners.
has to deal with the legality of that, whether they
Yeah,
did it
yeah.
or not us. We're just looking at, I think,
But
just
we're,
looking at the
but we're
lot
being
line.
asked to vote on not just the lot line, we're being asked to vote to allow the lot line division
And what I'm saying is, I don't think that's
between
appropriate for
2
this board to
non-existing
decide on.
conforming structures.
It's
Can we
not.
take that one off the table? for
Yes,
you and then
it's
try-
mine, we're,
Yeah.
in my opinion, we're not going to vote on that today because I don't understand it.
Okay.
And so we are here considering the new variances required by the lot line that was established by the planning board.
Right.
Okay, then I'd like to have town council weigh in on that, or else I'm going to vote no. If we can get time to have town council weigh in on it, and town council tells me that we don't indeed need to approve this lot line, that the planning board has sole thing on that, and really the only thing we're coming to is the setbacks, then I'll consider the setbacks. But without town council weighing in on the legality of that, which I read is what he wrote as saying this is not legal. And I know you can't say anymore, I'm
I was just
sorry.
asking if I could withdraw that one, if that would make it at all easier for you.
No, because I
We
want,
decided we're not going to vote on that one. So why can't we just deal with the lot lines? And if that, when it comes back in some
Because I
other
think
form,
that-
then we can deal with it.
no, because I think that that's very integral to this. Something's not right about this. This doesn't seem
No,
kosher to me.
It's not right.
The whole
You should
thing
never-
doesn't
You
seem,
should never put two lots on a 10,000, houses on a 10,000 square foot lot.
I
But now
understand.
that they're there, are we going to penalize the owners? Or are we just going to say, like Mark said, it's a line down the middle, it's an invisible line, it makes it easier for the owners, let's just move on. By saying no is creating hardships for, I don't think, any real benefit.
I was okay with this, with the understanding that it was a condominium, because frequently condominiums have limited space between them, and it seemed like the better way to deal with the fact that we had two grandfathered lots that had become one over the years and couldn't be re-subdivided, and yet had two houses on it. I'm not okay with this.
And I think the three of us feel that it's better to not be a condominium.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, what's the benefit of leaving it a condominium?
The land is then jointly owned, the septic system is jointly owned by both, and you're not trying to draw a line 5 feet off the property line to mow to. It's owned together, and the people buying the property understand that it's owned together. And I gotta tell you, I just have trouble with legality. Could I wrap myself around the idea of that lot line existing if I wasn't reading that the town council's opinion to be that it's not, it shouldn't have happened? I don't,
We're not here to decide that. The planning board did an A&R. We're here to decide on the setbacks from the new line.
Well, that's one
If
case,
there's
the
any
other one is.
illegality, then that has to be taken up with the planning board.
okay,
We
I'm
didn't
not,
create
I'm
the
not
line.
willing to vote on, I'm willing to continue and hear I'm willing to not vote no on it, and if you want, and continue and get reassured by town council that I'm reading his decision wrong.
This is what we'll do. These are two interlocking cases, one of which we need more information on from our town council, and that's the establishment of the lot line. And I would like to, with your permission, to continue the hearing on both cases until the next meeting, and when we can have an opinion on that, so some guidance from the council to respond to Ms. Cowley's concerns. Is that okay? If we go forward tonight, we would not approve the variance. Okay?
Sherry's shaking her head no.
Well, this may not be kosher, I don't know.
I don't know, can we reopen the hearing and then, okay, that's what I thought. So I move we reopen the two hearings and continue them to our next meeting,
August
August
18th.
18th,
At 7:30.
7:30.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Can I ask you to continue to later tonight, please? For further discussion tonight?
Okay. Is that okay with you?
Yes. People have come in.
Okay.
The next meeting.
Okay.
So we'll keep the hearing open until later today, and
Yes.
then continue it.
Right.
Do we have a second on reopening the hearing?
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Okay, so we stay in the room and we'll,
We'll be here.
I'm not sure why she wants to continue it today.
well, she's going to try to.
I'll talk now.
Try to talk me down.
Oh, yeah, I think they want to sell that lot. It's just too bad we didn't have
But
a
it's-
fifth member.
Yeah.
This is where we need Bill.
Well, it's not, no, it's not. It's a real estate attorney, it's just a real estate question.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's a physical, there's no physical thing wrong with this. You know, it can-
It's weird.
Time is 8:10 PM. I'll open the case of 871A. The petitioner, Louis Long, requests for a special permit pursuant to Section 173-10B1 and 173-31 to allow for a proposed detached garage at 26 Fletcher Lane. Did I pronounce your name right, sir?
That's right.
Thank
Thank you.
The way we present, Mr. Long, is that you present your case, then the board will ask you questions, then we'll open it up to abutters to ask questions, and you can rebut anything that's said, and then the board will discuss it, and then we'll make a vote.
I'm owner of this 26 Fletcher Lane. There's an existing two-bedroom building there. I need a garage and storage, so I propose a garage as well as a new septic system. This new septic system has already been approved about 3-4 months ago. Now, this new garage, I believe is not conform to this 26 or 30 feet off the road, but the existing house is already not conform. So I have to put the garage level to the front of the house because if I push it back, that will interfere with the septic system, which has pumps and pipes behind the house. So.
Your plan looks like you're 24 feet off the road approximately?
24.7.
No, that's the septic
No, I'm
system,
sorry.
so this
The other
is,
side is 23.7?
You just, yeah,
so there's certainly plenty of room
Oh, I
for.
see.
So it's 24, approximately.
it's code
The
25.
existing house is almost the same.
But you're also building a two-story, which does increase. Did we decide that increases or doesn't increase the,
The fact that he has more linear footage, which is a violation, is a variance. It's increasing the violation to the front line. So this needs a variance. He's already, what's the size of your lot? 16,000. So he's already got a lot that's,
does it matter at all
Under an
that he's
acre.
going up?
well, not to me, but the board can discuss that, but it doesn't, that's not supposed to matter.
Okay, that's just what I
Yeah,
wanted.
so we have a lot that's less than 1 acre. We have a lot that has a front line setback. It's okay to the back, it's okay to the side. The new garage is going to be okay to the side. It's going to be okay to the front. I
Not
see
okay
that-
with
It's not okay.
Not okay with the
variance
front,
is
I
for
mean,
the
it's
front.
okay with the back. And I see that it is, he's got the hardship because he's got septic all around, and I was down there today, there seems to be an awful lot of land to the right. The garage is going to not really impinge on anybody's
Yes.
visibility or anything. And most of the houses on Fletcher Lane are set back equidistant, not much further, not much closer.
No, and it's very close to it.
One comment. If the garage was offset back 1 foot and then maintained the setback of the existing home, would that be a special permit? If we're not increasing the nonconformity?
Well, you are increasing the nonconformity because you're still violating the 30-foot. What I don't get is, it seemed to me all the houses on the street, remember the bylaw says if the average on either
Right, then they
side
don't
is
need
the
it.
same, then they don't need it. So I'm always confused when I come here, but I suppose without actually measuring either side, and theoretically, this left side is a paper street, so he doesn't really have a house on the left side, maybe that's why this got sent here.
But it does seem to match.
This over here is a paper street going down here to the,
What's the paper?
a street that goes to more houses behind you, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with the request, I don't think I have a problem with the,
Which one is it on Fletcher Lane? I'm looking at the, where is it on Fletcher Lane?
If you
Here's Goldsmith.
Yeah, sorry. This,
I never think to look from the air. I drive by
Yeah.
these carefully.
Okay, so that
Conscientiously,
isn't a
I never
paper
think to
road,
look
that's a
from
real
the air.
road. So,
it
Sherry,
belongs-
it's right here.
It belongs to the guy
I've
far
never
back.
done Let's see, the road's over here, but if
This
you
is-
look at the
this is his
houses.
place.
Yeah, but if you look
Yeah.
at, if you come down and look at all the houses on Fletcher, they're all just as close on
Yeah.
both sides.
Yeah,
So
it's
I don't
fine.
have a problem with this in this neighborhood.
And when you look at it, the one corner is maybe a foot closer, but basically he's
parallel
not,
to the
he's not
existing house.
increasing the
Right.
the setback,
When,
or
when,
non-conforming.
when I asked them to design the house, my main thing is just so it line up, it was not awkwardly like
Step
6
back,
inches
yeah.
away, it's like, it looks like it's something wrong.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to gain a foot.
Can
It's
I-
not my intention, but yeah, just like to line up so it's not awkward.
I think it's, go ahead.
Can I, this is not really relevant,
Oh, okay.
but can I, you're gonna have great space over that garage, and you're putting in a new septic system. I wouldn't just use that for storage if you don't have to. Because you're putting in a brand-new septic system, you
It's
have
not
great
for this
space.
board.
I know. I
Do we
know.
have any abutters to this application?
Like I said, it wasn't relevant.
Any other board members have any questions on this?
Just to be clear, it's a 23.7 foot setback that we're
Right.
talking about, right?
That would be the
Under
variance.
30,
program,
yeah, and that's the only one.
Wait, you said 23, 24?
Yeah, this corner is
23.7
23.7.
is, we're
The
granting a,
closest.
the structure would be no closer than 23.7 to the front.
We're
Say
calling
23
23.
feet.
Yeah.
Should I make a motion to close the hearing?
Yep.
I make a motion to close the hearing.
Second?
Moved and seconded to close, all in favor?
Aye.
Discussion? You got it?
Looks very reasonable.
Yeah, it's just increasing an existing nonconformity by a foot.
Yeah.
And it's certainly in
Yeah, which
keeping
is
with the
not, yeah,
neighborhood.
and
Like
it keeps with the
4%.
neighborhood, so.
And it's got
it's-
plenty of trees and land around it to keep it from bothering anyone else.
Mark will officially appoint you the voting alternate.
Oh, thank you.
Can we have a motion on this one, please?
I make a motion to grant, is this a special permit or variance?
Variance.
To grant the variance as requested with the setback from Fletcher Lane to not exceed, to be no less than 23 feet.
Second.
Oh, don't want me to reference the plan?
Yeah, I think so. I'm looking for a drawing, but,
It's, the plan set dated 3/5/16.
Well, the one I'm looking at is
3.5 or
426. The plan dated 426.
Oh, you're looking at I'm looking at the architecturals.
Yeah, the
okay.
plot plan.
Yeah.
Plot plan dated 426, generally in keeping with that, and no greater than 23 feet to, no less than 23 feet from, am I saying this right?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Maybe we do need Bill back.
I know, I miss him. Can I have a second?
I never thought I'd be saying that.
Can I have a second?
Rod has already seconded.
I'll re-second it since she,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Let's see how easy it is when they have drawings
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
that are accurate.
I still think back at the presentation that the guy from the minor court did, the slide.
Yeah, he was very
That
good.
was awesome.
You know, though, I'm trying to write that decision because I'm late in writing it, and there's no notes anywhere. Everything was on his PowerPoint, so there's no notes in the files. I might have to call
If I
him
have any-
to write the decision.
Oh, there's no materials that he submitted because.
It was all the PowerPoint. And,
Still looks nice.
and I didn't sit in the meeting. Okay, the time is 8:20 PM. I'm opening the case of 872A. Petitioner Kristen Cowett requests for a special permit pursuant to Section 173-10B1 and 173-31 to allow for a proposed addition at 9 John's Place. And before we get started, I just want to say I haven't seen you in 20 years. Hi.
Wow,
Yeah, how are you?
good, thank you.
Good. Okay, will you present? You heard what I said, you present and then we ask questions.
Tiny lots.
We're looking to add a little more square footage by adding sunroom/family room, and a garage for storage, because we have no storage at that house. We only have a crawl space, no attic, so it's very tight for living. And we don't have the setback from the street. My house is about 8 feet from the street.
Now, this, John's Place really is kind of a paper road that dead ends right there.
Yes.
So if you're going down the road,
We're
you're on the right.
Yes.
And then there's a bigger, there's another house on the left.
There are 2 houses on the left.
Yeah. Just wanted to make sure I was in the right place.
Yeah.
Can I see
That's
that one?
Orchid.
It's, I drove down there, but that's right near,
So
Marcross.
is the stone wall that is shown there at, so John, you're at the very end of John?
We're, yeah,
Okay.
we're the only house on the right.
And the reason I mention that is because normally I would be concerned with the distance of the garage, not that the garage exists, but the distance from the street, so that cars can be parked in front of it. But realistically, it's a dead end, and it doesn't.
And their
need to be
house
an
already is
issue.
right there.
Yeah.
What are you adding, the sunroom and garage?
Yes,
The house and the porch are already there?
correct.
Pardon me. And that sunroom and garage is gonna line up with the frontage of the house, maybe that sunroom steps back.
It does.
A foot or
Not
two?
much,
Not much,
but
bit.
So the distance from the new front line of the structure closest to the street is going to be 7.5 feet? No?
15.
They show the 8 feet from the property line to the front of the porch, but the garage is going to be lined up with the
Right.
house.
Right.
Correct.
And that's 15 feet, it looks like.
Yeah.
I don't see a 15 on, that's all.
Yeah, see the head of the arrow?
It's, well, I don't see it either.
So-
Right here's
Is this
15
15?
feet.
Oh, the
I know
porch
it
is
down
8 feet from the road, not the house.
porch.
The
Right,
porch.
the house-
Oh,
But
okay.
the
The porch
porch,
or the steps?
is the porch enclosed, or is it just a little deck?
It's
No, it's enclosed, yeah.
Yeah, you can
Been
see
there
a
since we
peak.
bought the
Yeah.
house,
It's like living space.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's a drop down.
It's like a mudroom.
Oh,
Yeah,
just-
it's like a walk-in
Yes.
ante.
Heated and not,
Yeah,
yes?
heated.
Yeah.
Oh, so,
Heated, there you go, that's living space. So you got living space 8 feet off the road. So that's really the existing non-conformity or setback right at the moment is 8 feet. So you want to put a garage on that will then be
15 feet.
15 feet off the road, and you're on a dead-end road with not a lot of neighbors, except for there and there.
What's behind, could anything be built here? Oh,
I
that's
don't-
on the other street
yeah,
already,
that's
okay.
on the other street, and there, seems like there's still good space here. Do we have any abutters?
In the room?
Yeah.
Hang on.
No, we.
That's
no.
what I asked, Mike.
just never
know. One second.
I just wanted to look.
So
Any
the
board
only,
members have questions still?
I guess the only people affected would be across the street.
Right.
Well, you want to look?
Yeah.
I mean, I love Mark bringing up this aerial view. I drove down there, but
We ought to be able to do it on here. We should be able to call up a browser.
If you had a cable.
Oh,
yeah.
you're right. Well, maybe next time.
He offered, the AV guy offered that to us.
I was going to print it out today, I was so busy, I never got around to it. Hard
Sorry.
to see from here.
Yeah, so this is the
What?
street, this is, so there's a little house at the,
Yeah.
thanks, Mark.
I know, but I need.
So this is similar to the previous one where the addition and garage are the same distance back as the main house.
Yes,
So we're not increasing that portion.
but there's more of it, so it's a variance.
There's more of it, yeah.
So
Oh,
we
yeah,
have to-
there's a variance, but I
we have
mean,
to-
it's in line,
Yeah.
they're not coming out 8
That's
feet from
correct.
the street, that would have been difficult.
If you recall, less than a year ago, we were able to do these on a special permit.
I know, that's why
And
I'm
then there was a
asking you.
case that came down. And the case decided that even because you're making more of it, then you have to have a variance and treat it like a variance.
Yeah.
And establish the hardship. And to me, the hardship is you start out with a an undersized lot. You're starting out with a house location that is fixed. You're starting out with a septic system behind and
I
lot
wish
lines and
we
everything.
could push that garage back,
Yeah,
give us more driveway.
there's
but we
nothing else
can't,
you can do,
unfortunately.
so
Okay,
I
that's
think
good
they
to know.
established the hardship.
Because we have to establish a hardship for,
Yeah, it's existing.
I would love to.
So
project
your
that.
addition is not 8 feet off, you're setting it back
Look
to
at it.
15 feet off. Again, I'll make the same comment to you that's not relevant. You're going to have great space up there.
Right.
But
So now I'll ask if there's any abutters in the room to this application. Hearing none, I'll ask the board if you have a pleasure to close the hearing.
I would make a motion to close the hearing.
I'll second that.
And any discussion on the
I
variance?
guess he is creating an additional, property line, no, side setback's 15 feet, right?
Yeah, no,
He's
they're.
still
No.
28 feet.
Yeah, the side
They're
setback's
fine.
15, sorry.
Yeah, so he's still
It's just the
28
front.
feet.
It's just
Yeah,
the
it's just the
front.
front.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we grant the variance to allow the addition of as shown on plan. Not that one.
It's not,
He's
the
still-
modifications aren't dated on this plan.
Oh, how do you want me to reference this, chairperson?
According to the application and to be no closer.
Well, there's a mortgage plot plan
According to the plot plan.
Dated 1981.
to John Sneller, who
No,
I
because
happen
it's
to
not
know.
1981,
Yeah,
it's
he's
the one
still alive.
presented with the petition.
Yeah.
Because he's marked it up, so, or they've marked it up. So make the motion substantially in accordance with the plans presented with the petition.
For the addition of a garage and porch. Are we calling it a porch?
Sunroom. No,
No,
sunroom.
a garage and sunroom to be no closer than 15 feet from the front property line.
Let's just call it an addition according to the plan, so.
Addition according to the plan to be no more than 15 feet.
No less
No
than
less
15
than-
feet.
No less than, no less than 15 feet from the plot line, the street line. Oh, I see, I'm reading it this way, okay.
So for a building permit, you may need a certified plot plan. And they would, and then I would refer to that decision, the 15 feet might be slightly off from what you're assuming.
It just can't be closer than 15 feet, make sure it's not that, and you'll be fine.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'll second it, nobody
Rod,
else.
second.
My awkwardly written, worded decision here, sorry.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. It passes, congratulations. Can I need to take a quick break. I need to do
Be
some
aware that there is an
administrative things
appeal
with you.
period, and you can go ahead and start building,
So
but there is
one
an
is
appeal
that, I
period.
need to know who seconded the motion on. Thanks. You're welcome, good luck.
Second the motion on which?
The one before this one.
Rod.
Yeah, I
Rod.
did.
Cheryl moved and Rod
Rod
seconded for
seconded,
both. Yeah.
okay. And then I need to ask you, I'm gonna ask you,
How about for a bathroom break?
that's a good idea. All right, let's take 5,
Okay.
all right? Do we shut it when we take 5?
I don't know.
Unless they want to hear us.
We just sit here.
Why don't you just shut it for 5 minutes, shut it for bathroom break? Okay.
think the video feed is always on, but the
Oh.
audio is switched on and off.
Oh, okay.
We didn't want to hear Rod and I chatting about our commutes.
Yeah.
So. We'll reopen the hearing on case 864A.
For discussion.
Yes. First of all, since we are reopening it, is there any additional information you'd like to share with us, or any other insights into this issue?
Just a couple of topography issues to highlight. When these were the original houses, the distance between the smaller house closer to the lot line and the next house was 3 feet. So by moving them into the center, we have increased the distance to the abutter. And then between the two new houses, we have much more room now than there was, again, originally against the abutter to the outside.
Hold.
And then in terms of how
Yeah, I know.
the lots are situated,
Did you go down and drive down?
there's actually a elevation drop between one lot and the other. So the sort of concept of a shared lawn in between that you could throw a ball back and forth or mow back and forth, it doesn't really exist with these two. They are, with the retaining walls, you have one house and then there's a step up to the second house. So they are physically separate.
So does this change and level occur in alignment with the lot line, with the new lot line?
It does. And this is very hard to see, but this is a
Okay.
picture in process. And you can see, this is the two-bedroom house,
So this is where the lot line would be.
and the lot line would go right here in between. The other things to keep in mind, the concept of it being one lot, since there were two houses, we don't have that same merger concept as we do under Chapter 40A, Section 6, where you have two building lots under common ownership, and that was a protection. So again, you don't build two separate houses where there are two separate building lots that are substandard, but it doesn't apply when there are houses on them. So that concept of it was really one lot, since there were always two houses, even though it went into same single ownership, you don't have that same merger concept apply. So that's something to keep in mind there. For ease of the board, I think we would like to withdraw the application dealing with the
We need to
lot
get-
line, if we may.
need to get that withdrawal in writing, because if we don't hear it and we just say it's not our purview and we don't hear it, my understanding is we've automatically granted it, and I have a real problem with
Can't we
that.
vote to?
So
accept
I
the
can,
withdrawal?
we can vote to accept their withdrawal and get it in writing, and then I can live with that.
No, just on the, there's.
There are two hearings. One is on the variance created by the lot line. The other is on the lot line itself, which we do not understand why we are commenting on. So we'll withdraw that.
We would like to withdraw that. We can,
You'll submit a letter to.
yes.
And we have to vote to allow them to withdraw it.
Can I have a motion?
I move we accept the withdrawal of case 864A.
No, it's 873.
873A, without prejudice.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Can we have a
Right.
vote?
Yeah, aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all opposed, nay. So please submit the withdrawal to the Board of Appeals
Of course, we will
office.
do that.
Now, in terms of 864A,
I'd like to make a move that we close the hearing.
we got into trouble with that before. Are we,
Let's not make this any more
Poll
painful.
the
Okay.
board. Poll the board.
okay. Can we pull the board?
Sure. No, let's just close the hearing and do it. Whatever.
Okay, well, that's the poll. So we're going to close the hearing that we reopened.
Move we close the hearing.
Rod, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Now, in the case of 864A, the issue would be to grant variances related to a subsequent lot line established on this particular property since our last, when we approved these structures. Now,
let
where
me ask
am I
you-
looking at?
Can I ask a quick question?
Oh, you have
The
it.
lot, the distances to the outer lot lines have not changed
That's
from our
correct.
original?
Exactly as you.
Okay.
So this, is there a,
The numbers
Okay.
are right here, about 4.5 feet.
well, I want to refer to this drawing, which is
That's the,
prepared by, the ANR were prepared by Markey and Rubin, and the date,
Do we have to grant variances for all of the setbacks now?
No,
No.
that's why I asked the question.
no,
I
the
think-
only thing we're talking to are, we're here to, is to grant the variances of the side setbacks between the two buildings relative to this new property line.
And then we can reference the others.
And then we should
Special
reference
permit for
this.
the other setbacks.
We should reference this drawing, which is the A&R drawing signed by the planning board. And there's no date. Oh, 4/11/16. Can I have a motion?
I have, I'm informed that the lot line's legal, and if that is legal and it's not an issue, then it makes sense to give them what they want, given the division.
Okay, I
Not
move
happy about
that we grant a special permit, or variance, which is it?
It's a variance.
A variance to allow a setback of between 4.5 and 5 feet to the newly established lot line that runs between the two buildings, and that all the other setbacks were previously approved, given a variance back in, whatever, I don't know if we have a number on there, back in December.
It's December, 15th.
Yeah.
Is there a
And,
second?
Per the plan that you just found the number on.
Yeah, it's the A&R, the A&R drawing dated 4/11/2016.
And the drawing provided.
Well, this is, I think, part of it. It's just
this
that it's.
part of this?
Yeah, it's just,
the copy of
Okay.
the
Right,
page.
yeah.
I really think you
Because this
better
doesn't
reference
have a-
all of the setbacks.
well, we've already established them. These setbacks conform to our previous decision.
Yeah, that's what I said, and the other setbacks are previously provided a variance in December of 2015.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Just a question, though, just for my own edification. This is one application for one variance, but it's going to be two separate lots? So should it be two variances, one for each lot?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
However, I think the case could be made, since they were initially on one lot. That's what I don't know.
I think we have
So it
to,
applies to two lots?
I know, but I don't think that necessarily means that we have a single applicant. We don't have two applicants.
Yeah, that's why I said it's
Yeah.
it's
And they
newly
almost,
established.
they almost necessarily have to
okay.
be done at the same time,
Yeah.
so.
but
Okay.
I think we have to grant each a variance.
We are granting each a variance, but at this point, well, have you closed on one lot? Could you help us out with this?
But since the planning board has approved this as two lots, 27 and 25, if we could grant a variance from the
Okay.
easterly lot line of,
Right, so we would, on a lot.
Of 27
Lot one,
and the
27,
westerly line of
a
25.
variance on the side, on the east side of the structure on lot 27, a variance of the side setback to 4.7 feet. On the west side of lot 25, a variance
Yeah.
of 4.8 feet.
thank you,
Okay.
that should do it.
Yeah, it should be,
That will help clarify.
As
Yeah.
delineated in the
Yeah.
A&R drawing.
And just maybe
Yeah.
say newly established lot lines, so that the
Right.
other variance applies.
Right. Okay, may I have all in favor?
Right.
Aye.
All opposed? You have your variance.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing.
We already did that.
Oh, do we need to, no, not close the
Oh,
hearing, close the meeting.
Yeah.
I'll find out if the chair has any other business.
Those are the people buying the house.
Oh, okay.
They only want to buy it if it's a separate house. Or they don't want to pay that kind of money for it if it's a separate house, not a condo.
Okay, I'll hear your motion to
Close the.
To
meeting.
adjourn.
Adjourn. I'd like to
second to
make
the
a motion
motion.
to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, we're adjourned. Shut us down.
Yeah.